Street raised, I was brought up with a G state. Peep game, those who didn't catch one to your brain. Stay in your lane, never wolfed it, boy, I never fake. Watch them break, watch them fall, still I remain. Never change, never try to come and rearrange. Never hate, never tripping on somebody's plate. That shit is lame, leave that type of shit for the dames. The streets don't play, they'll catch up, watch your life as capes. One game, homie, that you shouldn't play. There's real soldiers in the streets gunning every day. This shit is normal in the vital part of every day. It ain't great, but I'm loyal, so I'll never change. I keep repeating, but I mean it, never lose your way. Heed the warning and the missing just for talking brave. Fuck my enemies, two faces and all the snakes. Now for this matter, just name the time and name the place. We'll get it active, fuck the gap, and I mean face to face. Real gangsters.
You are now watching M.O.D Entertainment.
What's good, G-Life? Now this right here is the area that's known as Nella, Northeast LA. Nellas is the home of several neighborhoods, and we're going to be covering all park neighborhoods. This is going to be done in about 2 or 3 parts. So before anybody says, yo, you left out this neighborhood, you left out that neighborhood, it's going to be in 3 parts. I couldn't make them fit all in one video. The video would be like about an hour and something long. You know what I'm saying? But right here, we're going to be starting off with the largest and probably the oldest ones out of the park neighborhoods within this area, because there's several of them located just within this area that is known as Nella. And starting off, we're going to be starting off with the biggest one, which is the Highland Park locals. Highland Park is an old barrio that has already been right here since the 70s. Very large, you know what I mean? Next to the Avenues gang, they're another powerhouse that's right here. Very well known. Now, their territory is pretty extensive. I would say it's from Figueroa. And from Figueroa, I would have to say all the way to... from Figueroa. And then their neighborhood still extends all the way to... their territory still extends all the way to Avenue 47th. So everything from Avenue 47th and Figueroa is their barrio. Which is a large amount of territory. Now, their main boulevard, though, that they rep it, that you see up as a clica, is the York Boulevard. York Boulevard stretching through the heart of their barrio, through all of that, through what's Avenue 53rd, Avenue 52nd, 51, and etc. in York. That's why you see it tatted on them, why you see it, all that. It's one of the main clicas, hey, is the one that you see up and doing their thing, you know what I mean? But like I said, Highland Park is definitely a large barrio who maintains right here and still holds it down right here in Nella. Now, another barrio that you have right here in Nellas, because like I had said, you're going to have several park neighborhoods within this area. It's like the land of the parks. Is the barrio CPB, the barrio Cypress Park Boys. Barrio Cypress Park Boys is a neighborhood that has already been right here since the 80s. Well known, well established. They got it on lockdown. Now, they may not be as large as Highland Park or Avenues, because this neighborhood was never really a large neighborhood, but they went to business, you know what I mean? These guys ain't no suckers. And this neighborhood is on Figueroa as well. Their neighborhood is from Figueroa all the way to Macon Street. So everything that extends through Cypress Avenue is their barrio, you know what I mean? Was Cypress and Silver, was Cypress and Frederick, was Cypress and Future, Cypress and Elm, Cypress and Asbury, Cypress and and all of that. All of that is their barrio. So everything that's in the middle is what's considered their turf, you know what I mean? And this is where the Cypress Park's at, obviously. That's their main domain, their dojo, the heart of their hood, where shit be cracking, homie. And where Cypress Avenue and Avenue 50, Avenue 2nd, Avenue 28, that's their main domain and where they be representing. And they're still right there, still keeping it active and putting theirs on the map. And the last one within this area of Nellas that we have is the barrio Glassell Park locals. Glassell Park locals being one of the smallest ones, the smallest one out of the 3 when we're talking about Highland Park, Cypress Park, and Glassell Park. This is the smallest one out of all of them. Due to the fact that it's not as old as the other 2, but don't get it twisted. They still with the business and continue to represent theirs. They've been around also since the 80s, late 80s is when they were established. Roughly only a small neighborhood. I was told that there were roughly only like about 50 to 60 heads. But nonetheless, they had their riders and you know, homies that put it down for theirs. Their territory is right there. What's Verdugo Road, close to Eagle Rock Boulevard is where they're, you know, where they're right on Avenue 35th, obviously. Right where the Glassell Park's at, that's their turf, their domain, their dojo. That's where they get it on and cracking, you know what I mean? And they still have homies that represent theirs and put theirs on the map, you know what I mean? These guys ain't no suckers, you know? Their territories from everything from where the park's at and San Fernando Road. You know, that's their barrio, you know what I mean? And throughout Eagle Rock Boulevard. And this barrio still, like I said, reps theirs and put theirs on the map and continue to hold it down for theirs. And this right here is the A1A Valley, my home, San Fernando Valley. And this is another area where you could find several park neighborhoods as well. Starting off with one of the neighborhoods that, you know, often gets forgotten and, you know, I don't hear that many people mention it, but is a real neighborhood, you know, that represents theirs, which is the barrio Sunland Park Locos. Sunland Park Locos is a barrio that's right here in Sunland Park. Sunland Park does have neighborhoods, and they with the business. The Sunland Park Locos barrio is everything from Sunland Boulevard, and from Sunland Boulevard, I would have to say all the way to Latuna Canyon, all the way to Vinedale, all the way to Wildwood Avenue. So everything that's in the middle is their barrio. So everything in the middle of Penrose, because Penrose is the street that stretches out throughout their barrio. And that's where you can find the Sunland Park locals doing their thing. Like I said, this was always roughly a small neighborhood. You know, I was told that there were roughly only like about 60 to 80 heads that was around since the 80s. Hey, but don't get it twisted. You know, just because you may not see them up as much as some of these other barrios doesn't mean nothing. These guys are with the business. They do have their riders and representatives that put it down for their barrio and hold it down for theirs. You know what I mean? So they you know, they with it. They with the business. But that's what's up with the Sunland Park locals right here representing for theirs. And right here, this is now the city of Pacoima. Pacoima is another area where we can find another park neighborhood that often gets forgotten that it's a park barrio. Which is the barrio Pacoima Humphrey Park Boys. Yes, Humphrey Park Boys is the original title of the barrio, and so it is a park neighborhood. I know people refer to it as Pacoima Humphrey Boys, but it's, you know, essentially is Humphrey Park Boys. You know, that's how they started off. And they started off roughly around the 70s, 80s, por ahí. Their barrio is from what's Paxton to Borden, and from Paxton and Borden, I would have to say their turf extends all the way to Bromont Avenue, and Bromont Avenue to Van Nuys Boulevard. So everything that's in the middle is considered their barrio. So Judge Street, Mercer Street, Penny Street, obviously, Fillmore and Bromont is the heart of their hood, their dojo, their main domain, right there on Judge Street as well. That's where you find the Humphrey Park. It's roughly a small park, but nonetheless, that's their turf, their domain, their dojo. So they kick it at, where they hang out, where they've been doing their thing. And this has always been roughly one of the more smaller Pacoima cliques. But don't get it twisted. They do have their riders, and, you know, they put it down for theirs. But that's what's up with the Pacoima Humphrey Park Boys right there. And here is the city of Canoga Park, located in the west side of the valle, the West Valle, pues. Canoga Park is one of the powerhouses of the San Fernando Valley, one of the old barrios from the San Fernando Valley, one of the oldest, you know, that has theirs on lockdown. Definitely a barrio that's well known, that has its reputation. This barrio has been around since the 40s, 50s, por ahí is when this barrio was established. Canoga Park runs all of Canoga. You can find them just roaming out through all of Canoga. Everything in the middle of, I would say, Winnetka to Roscoe all the way to, I would have to say, to Topanga. So everything that's in the middle, you know, and all the way to Vanoan is their barrio. So throughout Vanoan, throughout Sherman Way, throughout Satacoy, throughout Del Soto, throughout Manson, Parthenia as well. Everything that's in the middle is considered their barrio. But their main domain, their dojo, the heart of their hood is on Leonard Park. Leonard Park is that's where you get it on and cracking, right there on Strathern, homie. That's their domain. That's where it really be going down. You know what I mean? Also, obviously, in Alabama, because it's known as CPA, Canoga Park, Alabama Street, Alabama being their, also their domain, their dojo, right there on Strathern, Alabama, between Canoga Avenue. That's why you see it up at CPA. That's what it means, Canoga Park, Alabama Street. And like I said, this barrio is large. Roughly more than 400 members, I was told. It's already old school and continue to represent theirs. You know what I mean? You can still find them doing their thing. But that's what's up with the Canoga Park, Alabamas. And this right here is a well-recognized area. Right here in the west side of Los Angeles. One of the iconic landmarks that people actually like to visit due to the fact of the movie Mi Vida Loca, is where you can find the barrio Echo Park. Echo Park is located right here in West LA, obviously by the MacArthur Park area. The very iconic park that people see, with the lake in the middle and all that, is where you can find the barrio Echo Park. Echo Park, territory was very large. You know what I mean? Throughout Echo Park Avenue is, where you can find them. Throughout Glendale Boulevard as well. Their turf extends. It's a big chunk of territory. I would have to say their territory is all the way from Cerro Gordo Street all the way. I would have to say it goes all the way to where Belvon Avenue is at. So everything in the middle of Echo Park Avenue is where you can find them. Their dojo, their domain. And even though it's been gentrified and gang injunctions and everything, these fighters are still well and active. They were large, you know what I mean? And obviously well known because of the movie. And Echo Park continues to represent theirs and still put theirs on the map, you know what I mean? Even though with everything that they've thrown at it, still haven't been able to slow it down. But that's what's up with the Echo Park locals right here. And right here in the south side of Los Angeles, right here in the area that's known as Huntington Park, is where you find the next park neighborhood, which is the barrio HP Locals, Huntington Park Locals. Huntington Park Locals was a barrio that was around since the 80s. Was established right there where the Salt Lake Park's at, right there on Hood Street. Was their dojo, their domain, Salt Lake Park, obviously, where they kicked it at and did their thing. They were never large, you know what I mean? They were decent size, but then they ended up getting into Florence. But some of them decided to, keep their barrio up, they went down with, getting into the, Florence, kept representing theirs. And I know you still get people that say, no, they got into Florence and this and that. But no, I could tell you that they have members that still represent HP Locals, represent theirs, even though they're not as large as they used to be, because the majority of them did get in. They still have their writers that hold it down and put it down for theirs. You know what I mean? They ain't no suckers. HP Locals still do their thing. Is the vital where Mr. Blazer from High Power Entertainment. That's where he's from. And yeah, this barrio still represents theirs, you know what I mean? On the south side of Los Angeles, you got the Huntington Park Locals. And this right here is South Central, the Low Bottoms. And right here is another area where we can find another park neighborhood, which is the barrio Loco Parque. Loco Parque being a neighborhood that has been around since the 80s. Roughly tends to be, it was an average size hood. It's not as deep as it used to be, but nonetheless, they have their riders. Their riders was from Central to Adam, from Adam to Compton, Compton to 20th. Everything in the middle is their rider. 21st, 22nd, 23rd, 25th, Hooper Avenue, all of that, and obviously where the Central Park's at, the little small parquito, but that's the park that they call theirs, you know what I mean, Loco Parque, and that's where they represent, you know what I mean, it's the barrio where Little Menace is from, so, he definitely put on the map for them, and yeah, it's a real neighborhood right here in South Central, and, they still doing their thing, you know what I mean, they have their homies that represent theirs and put it down, you know what I mean, these guys ain't no suckers. And like I said, because right here's the danger zone, is I'm kind of the low bottoms for nothing, you know what I mean? Not only with a bunch of Hispanic neighborhoods, but you also have a bunch of black gangs as well. And the relationship, it's not all that well. You do have their conflicts and stuff like that. So it does get on and cracking and popping over here, you know what I mean? But yet, the local Parque gang still continues to represent theirs and still hold it down.
Thank you for watching M.O.D Entertainment. Make sure you like and subscribe.